Excellence is not an act. It is a habit, a rhythm, a quiet war you fight with yourself before the sun rises, a decision you make not once, but 1,000 times, in silence, when no one is watching. Because, the truth, you don't rise to the level of your ambition, you fall. To the level of your training, you collapse into the arms of your preparation. And whatever you've repeated, whatever you've burned into your mind through thought, through action, through ritual becomes the gravity that pulls your future toward you. You are not born discipline. You are not gifted focus. You forge it, you build it, strike by strike, day by day, and most people, they never even start. Not because they're not capable, but because they haven't yet understood this brutal truth. You don't get what you want. You get what you are. Your identity is not a dream, it's a practice. So ask yourself, who are you when nobody's clapping? Who are you when the bed is warm, the world is asleep, and your dreams whisper, get up anyway? Because that's where destiny begins, not in the spotlight, but in the shadows, in the reps no one sees, in the sweat that doesn't get posted, in the thoughts you refuse to entertain, the doubts you kill before they take root. You become what you repeatedly do, not what you occasionally try, not what you someday wish for, but what you consistently commit to, day in, day out, ritual, repetition, relentlessness. Do you know how Edison invented the light bulb? Not with genius, but with over 10 000 failures. That's 10 000 repeated attempts, not experiments, commitments, each one a declaration. I will find the way, or I will die trying. Most people quit at failure number 1. They think failure means stop, but failure is just feedback. It's the universe testing your seriousness. It's life asking, how bad do you really want this? And most don't want it bad enough to bleed for it. But the ones who do, they're the ones who repeat, who refine, who rise. Because success isn't built on intensity, it's built on consistency. One brick laid perfectly, every single day. Discipline is your trowel. Your habits are your mortar, and your legacy is the house you build from it. Every action you take, every thought you entertain, every decision you make when it's hard is a vote for the person you are becoming. If you hit snooze, you voted for comfort. If you rise before the world, you voted for vision. If you skip the reps, the work, the reading, you voted for mediocrity. If you do them regardless of how you feel, you voted for greatness. And the more votes you cast in one direction, the harder it is to change course. Not because you can't, but because your momentum is stronger than your motivation, because your rituals now have gravity. They're either pulling you toward mastery or pulling you into the pit of regret. The man who reads daily doesn't just get smarter, he becomes a reader. The woman who trains daily doesn't just get stronger, she becomes an athlete. Your identity is not found, it is forged in the furnace of repetition. You don't wake up with confidence, you earn it. Through the promises you keep to yourself. Again and again and again, listen to me. Your goals don't mean anything if your habits don't align. You can speak of success, you can wish for wealth, you can pray for greatness, but the universe doesn't hear what you say, it sees what you do. What's in your calendar? What's in your daily rituals? What's in the small moments, the ones you think don't count? Because every empire, every dynasty, every revolution was built on the back of small disciplines repeated without fail. Carnegie didn't become Steel King through chaos. He had order, structure, a mind trained to command, not react. Ford didn't stumble into the assembly line. He engineered efficiency one system at a time. Walt Disney didn't sketch a mouse and wait for magic. He worked endlessly, tirelessly, repetitively until the world couldn't ignore his vision. These weren't men of luck. They were men of habit, men of practice, men of obsession. They didn't hope success would knock, they built the door, and then they knocked on it every day until it shattered. You become what you repeatedly do. So if you're tired of being average, stop acting average. Stop repeating the habits of the man you're trying to escape. You cannot have a millionaire life with a minimum wage mindset. You cannot build a legacy with lazy rituals. You cannot create greatness if your daily routine is laced with excuses. Look in the mirror. That is not a reflection. That is a report. An audit of the choices you've made over months and years. And the good news, if you don't like the reflection, you can change the repetitions. Not overnight, not with a single burst, but with a decision repeated, because the mind doesn't believe what you say, it believes what you do, it believes the patterns, it rewires through ritual, it rewrites the story based on how often you show up. So the question is, what are you repeating? Are you repeating discipline, or delay, focus, or distraction, courage, or comfort, creation, or consumption, because repetition is a law. You cannot escape it. You can only choose how to use it. Repetition is how seeds become trees, how movements are born, how empires rise, and how ordinary men become legends. This is not philosophy. This is not theory. This is universal truth. You are not a product of your potential. You are a product of your patterns. And if you want to change your life, you must change what you do every single day. The gym doesn't care how you feel. The market doesn't care what you meant to do. Your future doesn't care about your excuses. It only responds to the man or woman you show up as, and who you show up as is trained, built, rehearsed in the quiet, lonely hours no one celebrates. Everyone wants the glory, the money, the applause. But few are willing to train for it in silence. Fewer still are willing to repeat with no reward, no promise, no instant gratification. But that's the price, that's the toll, and that's why greatness is rare, because most will never pay it. They say knowledge is power. That's not true. Applied knowledge is power, and repeated application is transformation. You can read all the books, you can write all the affirmations, but if your daily actions don't reflect your dreams, you're just a fan of success. Not a participant. Stop rehearsing your goals and start rehearsing the discipline to get there. Repetition makes the truth permanent, so start repeating the truth that empowers you. Start repeating the rituals that reshape you. Because your mind will start to believe you. When your actions give it proof, you don't need motivation, you need momentum, and momentum is built through movement, through showing up when it's inconvenient, through working when no one is watching, through keeping promises when it's easier to quit. You want to change your life, change your defaults. What do you default to under pressure? What do you default to when you're tired, angry, overwhelmed? Is it laziness, or leadership, escape, or endurance, blame, or boldness, because the person you fall back on, that's the person you've practiced being, and that's the brutal honesty no one tells you. You have already mastered something. You've either mastered discipline, or you've mastered distraction. You've either mastered growth, or you've mastered excuses. You've either mastered the art of pushing through, or the habit of backing down. It's not whether you're disciplined, it's what you've disciplined yourself to do. Understand this, every day is training. You are rehearsing your future whether you mean to or not. You are either reinforcing your limitations or building your liberation. You are either becoming a slave to comfort or a soldier of vision. It's not just what you do once, it's what you do again and again and again. Success isn't sexy, it's not dramatic. It's quiet, it's boring, it's lonely, it's choosing to rehearse the reps no one applauds, until one day they can't ignore you anymore. Let's talk about confidence. Real confidence isn't loud, it isn't fake hype. It's earned peace forged in repetition. When you do the hard things every day, when you meet resistance head on, when you keep your promises to yourself, you start to trust your own hands, your own words, your own path. Confidence is not an affirmation. It's the echo of discipline. You don't feel worthy. You become worthy through action. And here's the twist: the moment you start living in alignment with your highest self. Everything else changes, people feel it, opportunities find you, the right energy circles back, because the universe doesn't give you what you want, it gives you what you're prepared to handle. Think of your dreams like a vault. You don't get access just because you wish. You need the combination, and that combination is found in your habits. Each repeated discipline, each consistent day, each time you say, I will, and follow through. That's a number on the dial, that's a turn closer to unlocking your future, but miss one, get sloppy, stay inconsistent, you spin the wheel back to zero and wonder why the vault doesn't open. There are no shortcuts. Only codes, and the code is commitment, repeated. You see, mastery isn't about being perfect. It's about showing up especially when you're not. It's about being the man who lifts when he's tired, the woman who writes when uninspired, the leader who leads even in doubt. You become dangerous when your standards don't change based on your feelings, when your mission is louder than your mood, and that kind of power, that kind of unshakable energy, it doesn't come from talent. It comes from routine. It comes from becoming so consistent that your discipline becomes identity. You no longer do the hard things, you are the kind of person who does hard things. That's real transformation. That's lasting change. That's the person no obstacle can stop. Because the battle is already won internally, daily, in silence. So here's your call to action. Audit your day. What are you repeating? Not what you plan to do, not what you mean to do, but what you actually do every 24 hours. Track it, face it, fix it. Because if you don't like your life, you don't need a new dream. You need new disciplines. You don't need more motivation. You need more consistency. Don't confuse motion with progress. Don't mistake intention for execution. The only thing that changes your life is repetition aligned with vision, executed with fire. So build a system, live by it, breathe by it, die by it if you must, because if your dream is worth dying for, then it's worth repeating for. There will be days where nothing makes sense, where doubt wraps around you like a fog, where progress feels invisible and purpose feels far away, and in those moments you'll be tempted to break the pattern, to skip the rep, to silence the voice inside that says, keep going. But that's exactly when it counts the most. That's where the separation happens. That's where the average turn back, and the relentless press forward, because it's not about how you feel. It's about what you repeat when you feel nothing at all. That's where the greats are made, in the silence, in the stillness, in the space where most people quit. Think about this. A single drop of water is weak, but a waterfall, that's just thousands of drops. Falling with consistency, a single strike doesn't cut stone, but enough strikes repeated with aim, force, and belief can carve mountains, reshape landscapes, build worlds. So what are you carving? With your choices, with your mornings, with your mindset, what shape is your life taking, not from what you hope, but from what you do over and over and over again? You don't need to sprint, you just need to refuse to stop. Your rituals will outlive your motivation, and your commitment will outlast your excuses, because one day you'll look back and realize it wasn't the big moments that made you. It was the early mornings, the quiet nights, the skipped parties, the extra reps, the books you read, the words you spoke to yourself when no one was around to hear them. You'll realize that greatness was never a lightning strike. It was a drip. A slow, constant, faithful drip of action, belief, and resilience. And while the world slept on you, doubted you, misunderstood you, you kept showing up. You kept laying the bricks. You kept casting the votes. And now you've become undeniable. Let them wonder how you did it. Let them call it overnight. Let them forget how many times you were unseen, uncelebrated, unthanked, because you'll remember. You'll know the truth. You'll know that who you are today is the sum of everything you chose to do, even when it was hard, especially when it was hard. You'll know that identity isn't claimed, it's constructed. That greatness isn't born, it's built. That purpose isn't found, it's forged, repeated, reinforced relentlessly. So here's how this ends, or how it begins. You want to be excellent, repeat excellence. You want to be fearless, repeat courage. You want to be wealthy, repeat value, repeat discipline, repeat boldness. Repetition is the womb of all transformation. You are not chasing success, you are rehearsing for it. You are not waiting for greatness, you are becoming it. So look in the mirror not with doubt, but with fire, because every single day, with every small choice, you are casting a vote. This is who I am. So ask yourself now, loudly, clearly, honestly, who are you becoming? Because make no mistake, you become what you repeatedly do.